Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's just me. Now, I don't mind the Spider-Man music, too, from the 67 cartoon. I wish I had a whole, I would call it an album or a CD of that, but maybe it's available somewhere. I went looking. I found like an export that was way too expensive for me, but I would also like the Superman, I'm sorry, the Super Friends incidental music. Think I'm violating any copyrights with that. Okay, so I'm digging into the random comic book cards without the trivia, right? So I need to just throw one down and see what we have. It's a Marvel card from, in 1982. It was, I guess that's the Bronze Age now. It's always odd to having lived through that year to see that it is an age. But so yeah, Bronze Age, before I stumble. So this is a Wolverine pose that, the more I look at it, the more atypical it seems. Who is this? 82, you want to think Frank Miller. So we'll go with that. I don't know if that's going to be revealed at all when we look at this card. But let's see what information we have. And it's one of these. Yeah, it is the Frank Miller Wolverine. Okay. I'm sure I have this in a... Maybe I don't. Because I never bought the Wolverine Omnis because, honestly, I was never that interested in Wolverine as a character. I liked X-Men. I liked the team. These Frank Miller Wolverines, and then the series that happened in 88. And I do regret that I own those, not this one, but the 88 series first issue. I'm sure that's like a boatload of money now, but that's collecting. You keep what you like because you like it. I mean, come on now. So anyway, so this is the Frank Miller Wolverine. She goes to Tokyo, and we have this is what they do for one of the Wolverine movies as well. There were so many of them, I don't even remember what it was now. But it wasn't a bad movie. It was like, I called it Wolverine Tokyo Drift, because I watched those two movies. I watched Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, followed by that Wolverine movie, and I kind of got mixed up in the head. So anyway, no, I can't say that I know what's going on in the series, but it's never been a one I've gone back to, and maybe I haven't read it at all. But there we go. There's the Wolverine. I'm sure that's in the Wolverine Omni. Maybe it's in the X-Men Omnis as well. Don't know. So the trivia is, this is the first time that he used the catchphrase, "I'm the best at what I do." Well, that's unfortunate. Another reason to not care about Wolverine much. All right, I'm trailing off. I get the appeal of Wolverine. It was never my thing, although I love X-Men. He works great in the X-Men books. Was never a big fan of the solo stuff. Again, the 80s anti-hero stuff. But, there's plenty of room under the tent for everything. So, obviously, I'm happy it exists in some way, shape, or form. Okay, I'm upstairs, so the only trivia cards I have are the Marvel questions. Maybe I should be bringing the Wonder Woman and the Batmans back upstairs, since this is where I'm doing some shows lately. But let me, and join you, won't me? That's an old Chevy Chase line. Okay, so here we go. Marvel questions. Ta-da, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum. Ba-dum, bum, bum. Alaska? Where did Cyclops grow up? So I remember, the only thing I remember of Cyclops' youth is he's with Alex on a plane, and the father, who becomes Corsair from the Starjammers, doesn't the plane crash, and then I don't know what Corsair's real name is, but doesn't he end up in space that way? And I don't know. I'm just gonna say Alaska. Maybe I'm confusing Cyclops with Riker, but I don't know. Oh, I love softballs. Mystique is a changeling. Or a shape. No, she's not a shape shifter. She can just change into people. Different people, but not objects. I don't recall Mystique ever becoming an inanimate object. So she's not like Odo. She's just Mystique. But sorry, there was a good awkward pause there for a minute. What happened to Morph? I wonder what the difference is now between Mystique's abilities versus Morph. Morph wasn't quite like a plastic man, was he? And I'm only referring to the Worf. I just said Worf. I meant Morph. The Morph from Exiles, which was the Morph from Age of Apocalypse, which was, I guess, supposed to be the Changeling from like the original run of the Kirby Lee books. That is something to ponder. Have we ever had a Mystique Morph team up book, and what would that be like? But they're different. I think Mystique can only just change into other people. I don't know if that's an ability within or there's some kind of aura around her. I don't know how the ability works in the comic or the movies. But it's not like Morph. Morph can just... He's like, I guess Plastic Man is as close as you can get. So that's my 2 cents on Mystique versus Morph. That's something worth exploring and investigating. Okay. Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde, right? Her first team was the X-Men. So I don't think... She was with the X-Men at the same time that New Mutants started, but she was never with the New Mutants because she was with the X-Men. That comes into we first see her in the Dark Phoenix saga, right? That's where she shows up. Maybe she I don't think she was ever in the New Mutants because then she skips to Excalibur eventually. So the only teams I remember Kitty being on were the X-Men and Excalibur. Maybe I'm missing something huge. That's Shadowcat. The other names Kitty Pryde has had is Sprite, right? And I feel there was one more, like Ariel, not like Little Mermaid, but Ariel. But so yeah, X-Men and then Excalibur. X-Men was her first team. She was on the team. She didn't lead the team. She was on it. Am I overthinking the question? I think I'm overthinking the question. Okay. Oh, Venom. Ugh. Venom makes me nauseous. So I've griped before about once owning Amazing 300. First appearance of Venom. In fact, I own the entire run of the McFarlane Amazings that I would buy at the local grocery store each month. And I kept $2.99 and 300 for a long time. And I finally traded it at my local comic shop around 2006, 2007 for store credit. I imagine the owner gave me maybe $30 worth of store credit for it. I'm thinking now it's like a $700 comic. I don't know. I'm trying not to think about it at all. But, that gets back to when I think about Wolverine. I had those first issues too, but they were not my thing. So I keep what I like. I'm not keeping it to invest. There are other ways to invest. But you learn those lessons as a collector. And gradually you see the kind of power it has over one. And that's what happens when speculation gets in the way of being entertained and enjoying something for what it is. Which is a nice thing in a small way about movies. you can watch them and not worry about their collectability and just enjoy. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. I guess that's the nice thing too. And even though I'm not a tablet reader, when you're reading comics off the tablet, you don't have to worry about their collectability. You can just enjoy them. All right, and that's why I'm glad the trades exist, because look, I got the Miracle Mans behind me. I do have a full run of the original Miracle Mans. I'm gonna geek out about those sooner or later. But anyway, okay. What was this? I don't know. Well, Eddie was a photographer, right? I can't remember Eddie's last name, but he was like another photographer who was pissed off at Peter for some reason. And Venom, as the alien symbiote, didn't have a job, but was, unless you count his job as the Spidey costume. That's how I'm going to come down on that question. Banshee's real name. Is it Sean Cassidy? I'm not going to do... Bad thing about the X-Men cartoon from the 90s is that you're left with the Scottish and the Irish accents that almost come off as offensive now, as much as I want to say them and do the voices. That might not be kosher nowadays. With both more McTaggart and well, his name wasn't Sean Cassidy. That can't be right. Sean Cassidy, that's something... That's the Partridge Family, isn't it? No? Well, Cassidy's the last name. Maybe it's Sean. I don't know. Now I'm thinking about that not great Generation X TV movie they did in the 90s. That was rough. And then he had the brother, not in the Gen X movie in the 90s, but now I'm just thinking about Banshee. He had the brother, but was his name Black Tom? I don't know. That's Banshee. Okay, it's answer time. Oh, thank you, card 74A from 2003. Let's see what the answers are. In an orphan... Oh, come on. Where did Cyclops grow up? And the answer we get is in an orphanage. Okay, so... Fine. I'm thinking of a region on the globe. Where was the orphanage? Can I get an answer to that? Do we know where the orphanage was? All right, fine. But in giving the background of the story, no, okay, I have no excuse. I gave the background. Now, were Alex and Scott split apart after Corsair went to space? And was there a mother anywhere in Cyclops' background? This is becoming like TV movie territory here. Come on, we don't need to see the Knight Rider. I call this the Knight Rider. Okay. All right. Next one, Shapeshifter. That's the Mystique question. We remember the Mystique question from what feels like 2 hours ago, right? So thank you, 2 people and myself who are still watching. Kitty's group was the X-Men. Okay, I did not overthink that question. Journalist from the Daily Globe. So this was Venom's previous occupation, Venom Eddie. What was Eddie's last name? Don't know. Look down below for my source wall stuff. Brock. Eddie Brock. Good, now I don't have to do a Venom reference. And then his name was Sean Cassidy. Ta-da! All right. Those are my Marvel trivia questions for the day. I hope you got them all right. And I will take any suggestions. The Springboard part is who I am, but I'm trying to keep it down to where, we get to the questions, we get to the answers, and if there's stuff I want to talk about, well, that's what I am gonna do. But there we go. There's your super card. And as always, to be continued. Yeah.